Hi, this is Pat Duckworth, the hot woman with cool solutions, and I am talking to you today about Hot Women Rock. I'm so grateful to all of you who supported Hot Women Rock and made it an international bestseller, so thank you very much. And to celebrate the launch of the audiobook, I'm interviewing the lovely authors, the co-authors who were part of the book, and they are all over the world. We have them in the UK, in America, in Canada, and today I have a guest in a very special location, but we will get to that in a moment. So my guest today is Kay Newton, and she's an award-winning international speaker, writer, and a retreat and workshop facilitator, and she is the Caring Confidant. I met Kay just over a year ago, but we've been friends forever. You know those people that you meet and you just know that you must have met in a previous life or something because you just click with them immediately and they become your friends. And I met Kay when she was living in her luxury home in Mallorca off the coast of Spain, and but now that's not where she's living because she went through huge changes, and I have to say I was there at the start of that, so I feel quite pleased about that. Unlike most midlife women, instead of having an empty nest, she's gone for not having a nest at all. So Kay and her lovely husband of 25 years now live in a 2-room beachside house off a pristine beach in Zanzibar off the coast of Tanzania. So wow, Kay, so much has happened since I first met you. And before we talk about your wonderful new lifestyle and before we talk about the Caring Confidant, I just want to talk about your story so far, just as an update.
Thanks, Pat, for having me. This is really exciting. I mean, this Hot Woman Rock book has been a huge success, and it's really, really a great pleasure and privilege to be part of it. Yeah, I grew up in Yorkshire in a working class family, never expected to have the lifestyle that I've had. I was very lucky to be one of the first people to ever in my family be educated to university level. Found myself in a really awful job in Hull, working in retail, and I absolutely hated it. And my passion at the time, and our family's passion, was sailing, and found myself sat feeling very miserable on our little boat in Hull Marina for one lunchtime. And at that time, what I thought was a huge boat came into the marina, and I ended up getting on it, packing in my job and everything, as the spur of the moment decision, and sailed all the way from Hull to Mallorca. And I always tell everybody I never learned to swim back. I think I say that in the book as well. So I ended up staying in Mallorca, worked on boats for a few years, and then the owner of the boat I worked on bought property. First thing I had to do, helping him with the new property, was to snag all the issues from the construction site, and met the project manager who promised he would sort out all the problems for me, providing I had dinner with him, and we ended up getting married. So that's when I met James. James is from South Africa. We both decided that we didn't want to make home in either the UK or South Africa, so we stayed in Mallorca. Bought ourselves a really run-down wreck of a house in the centre of the island, which we lovingly restored, and brought 2 boys into the world and made it our family home. And then we started renting out the property to holiday lets and to people coming to stay with us, which was absolutely great. We had a fabulous time doing that. And then we found that the boys had both moved on, both grown up very quickly. And I could foresee that happening probably 10 years before it actually did happen, and decided it was time to find something else to do with my life. I didn't really want to just be a housekeeper and a B&B owner. So I ended up training to do life coaching. And then 18 months ago now, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was 18 months ago that I came to see you for that wonderful retreat.
So much.
I came there while you were still there.
So I decided to do this life coaching, and part of the life coaching was to do some retreats at the house, since the boys had left home and we downsized into the guest quarters and we were renting out the big house. And one of the retreats I decided to do was named aptly Ditch the Baggage. And this is where I met Pat, and some other ladies were there as well. We had a fabulous time. And unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, I was the one who I think probably ditched the most baggage of everybody, because was that in October, November, I think, wasn't it?
It was April last year that I came to see you.
That's right, April last year. Wow.
I know.
So in April last year, I was very happy and content in my house in Mallorca. And then at Easter, so a couple of weeks later, my husband got a call from a friend of a friend. Did he want to come and construct a 5-star hotel in Zanzibar? And my youngest son was studying for his finals, for his international baccalaureate at the time. And he was at home, and he just said, "You have to go, Dad. You just have to go." So we said yes to the project. And within the space of 6 months, we'd downsized, got rid of all our 20 years of clutter, and put the house on the market for sale, and moved out to Zanzibar, and here we are.
It's amazing. I mean, you know, I was part of the downsizing operation. We could spend most of this morning just talking about decluttering. And, you know, I found through writing the book and talking to so many amazing women that there was kind of a catalyst for change in their life. And one of the catalysts for change before you made this huge change was your husband's experience of depression, and you as a midlife woman dealing with that as well. Could you just say a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it came as a little bit of a shock the first time that James hit depression. They've always been around financial issues. He always sees himself, as I call them, or call him, the dinosaur hunter. He's the one who, you know, feels that he needs to provide for the family, and that's his main purpose in life, is to his family, you know, the boys and myself. And obviously when you hit economic depressions and work's not going easy when you're working for yourself, that's when I think it really, you know, the couple of times it's really hit him badly. I think for me, dealing with it was a shock. I'd never had to deal with depression before. I don't suffer from depression, so I find it really difficult to, you know, assimilate and understand and empathize even in many respects, because it's something that's just not part of my DNA. And to see him suffer was really quite difficult. And you know, depression is one of those subjects we still really don't talk about enough. And for me, writing and blogging became an outlet for me. It was a way of me dealing with the situation without you know, affecting the boys in a way. It was really interesting because this summer my youngest boy said to me, he said, "Mum, I'd just been reading your website. I hadn't realised just how bad it was. You know, it hadn't occurred to me that your dad was suffering in the way you were suffering." And I said, "Well, you know, we obviously did a good job then in hiding it from you." But yeah, it was hard. It was a struggle.
Yeah, so, you know, some of these catalysts for change, they're often not the positive things that are going on. They're things that you have to, they're the real challenges that you have to rise to. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, but everything you learn from them that you can help other people with.
And the cliche again, you know, what you've just said is that it makes you a stronger person. You know, I always talk to clients about the fact that, you know, if you look at a heart monitor, you know, do you see a heart monitor anything other than peaks and troughs? If it's not a peak and trough you know, signal, it means that you're not alive. Life is the same. It's all about the peaks and the troughs. The peaks, you know, obviously the memories, the wonderful memories you have, but the troughs allow you to create the next wonderful memory as well.
Yeah.
And without them, you're flatlined. You know, you're dead. So life's not meant to be lived on a flat line. It's meant to have peaks and troughs. And I think that's, you know, something that we forget, you know, very easily forget, that it's not meant to be boring or simple, or life's meant to be challenged, and it makes stronger people for it.
So tell us about the Caring Confidante then, which is your new brand.
My new brand. So coming over here to Zanzibar, what I realised was, you know, my website was outdated. It needed an update. And also I felt that I really wasn't doing the personal development coaching that I'd been doing 10 years ago. My life's moved on, and I think also the clients that I attract have moved, are different. So the biggest thing for me was people come and they have this need to verbally vomit, I call it. So it's the stories. They need to get these stories off their chest, and in today's world, people are not really listening to them. There's a real lack of the sense of listening and really understanding what people are saying. People listen, but they're dealing with their own stories at the same time, or they're on the mobile apps, or they're watching TV or whatever. They're not really listening. Yeah. So people come for a huge verbal vomit, and then after that, quite often they've already sorted out the problems, the issues. They've gone. Quite a lot of people go, "Oh, did I really say that? How embarrassing. Now I know what I need to do." So they don't really need, at midlife, really need the life coaching. So that's one side of it. And then the other side is, if they do need help, it might not be in a coaching manner. So they may not need me to sit there and say, you know the answers and I'll facilitate the space for you. They're coming with issues about their health, or issues about emptiness, maybe dealing with aging parents or the death of their parents. And, I always say to people, I've got these T-shirts already, I've done that, including moved countries and downsized. And so it's no longer a life coaching scenario. You're then helping them from your point of view and saying, this is what I did, not necessarily what you need to do, but I can tell you from experiences, if you want to do this, you can do it in this manner. So it becomes a mentoring style approach. So it's twofold, really. Caring Confidant is there just so to give them the space to talk, give them feedback on what they've said, and then if they want to take it any further, or they need to take it any further, then I've got the skills to do that with them as well.
That's so valuable, having that space to talk. As a therapist, I know that people come into my room, they often say, "Oh, I think I'm going to be coming to you for weeks," and then they get that space to talk about stuff they haven't been able to talk to anybody else about, in a way that's totally non-judgmental and just allows them to say it. And they get better so quickly because they've been able to heal themselves.
Just having that space with no blame, no judgment, no criticism, just allowing them to say what they need to say. I can remember really back in my first coaching sessions when I was being coached, and I think it's also very important that, as a coach, you are coached. Somebody saying to me very abruptly, one of my coaches saying, "It's not like that in my life." And that's been a mantra for me that I've used on myself and on clients for a long time, because, you look at people and they tell you things and you think, where on earth has that come from? They just getting rid of it, just saying it out loud into the atmosphere is enough to say, where on earth did I get that from? I can get rid of it now. I don't need it.
That leads us really nicely into what we were going to talk about this morning as well, is about beliefs, because one of the neurological levels that I talk about in the book is beliefs, and they are so powerful because we don't even notice we have them. They just feel like facts in our life. And the helpful beliefs, the ones of, I can do this, I'm ready for a change, those beliefs, leave them alone. But the unhelpful beliefs are the ones that you don't even know are holding you back. So did you have to overcome unhelpful beliefs to get to where you are now?
Yeah, I think you do. I think everybody does. So unhelpful, and I think sometimes it's really important to have that other person there who can just, can say those words, "Excuse me, but it's not like that in my life," because you don't see them quite often. And I think it takes you a lot longer on your own to find those unhelpful beliefs. It's not impossible, but it's a lot easier if you've got somebody with you who can just say, "What did you say? Where did that come from?" Quite often you don't hear them. So unhelpful beliefs for me, I knew in the past that I'd literally dropped my life in whole in my 20s and just packed everything up, thrown my few possessions back at my parents and said, "I'm going," and got on a boat and And so I knew that it was possible to do. And then you deal with all your peer group saying to you, but you're in your 50s, you know, what on earth are you doing? Are you having a midlife crisis? You know, this is not normal. Why are you doing this? And then you get the other people who are really jealous about what you're doing, and, oh, I wish I could do it. And there is a limiting belief, you know, I wish I could do what you're doing, so why don't you do it then?
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, lots of limiting beliefs. My Tupperware and my knives and forks were a definite limiting belief, as you know.
My challenge to Kay was, why do you need all of this Tupperware?
Carry on.
So it's not only your own beliefs that you're dealing with, it's other people's beliefs when they interact with you as well.
Yeah, always. You know, and it's a really important thing to remember, especially if you're setting up a new business. You know, you're going to meet people who, you know, are not going to be positive in the way they react with you when you tell them, you know, then I'm going to set this, I'm going to do that. You'll get a lot of negativity. And again, I say to people who are approaching this negativity, just remember it's a reflection of what's going on in their life. It's not really meant at you, it's meant at what's happening with them. And I think that's a really good way to deal with people who are being negative towards you, is to just go, okay, I can listen, or I can thank them for sharing and caring, and move on, you know.
There is an exercise in the book around unhelpful beliefs, and I've already met somebody who said that really stopped her in her tracks, and she really had to sit and think about the scripts that were running in her head that were holding her back from what she wanted to do. So by the time you get to midlife, you're going to have these unhelpful beliefs sitting in the background, and it's time to examine them. You know, they might be a bit uncomfortable, but once you get rid of them, you can do so much more with your life. And sometimes you can do that on your own, and sometimes you need help.
Yeah.
And when you need help, just go and talk to somebody. You know, if you talk to somebody like Kay or myself as therapists, we're not going to laugh at your belief. We're going to say, okay, so where did that come from? Yeah. And you might be surprised.
Yeah. You know, and I call it, you know, another word that I use quite often, you know, a phrase I use quite often is to be sensibly selfish.
Mm.
And I think at midlife, it's really important to be that, and not meaning selfish in a bad way. Selfish has always got a negative, you know, side to it. And I think it's wrong that we believe selfishness is negative, because I think if you put yourself first and think about what you want, you are then coming from a real positive place, a real positive energy, and therefore you can pass that energy out to everybody else. So
I love the work you do, Kay. So if anybody wants to contact you, if they want to whisper in your ear about their limiting beliefs, if they want that confidant, how can they contact you?
Find me at my website, which is www.k-newton.com, k-newton.com. And there's a free book there you can download, which talks about, you know, the aspects of your life that you can change. I offer a free 15-minute confidant session if you want one. Packages there and gifts and lots of posts and information. So come and have a look at the Zanzibar photographs.
It's been lovely talking to you, Kay. I'm so glad that you were part of Hot Women Rock, and that you can inspire other midlife women to make changes, even if they don't pack their home up into a 20-kilo suitcase and head off to the tropics.
And if they want to, I can help. Thanks very much for having me, Anne.
Yeah, you were going to hold your book up.
I am. Look, I've got my book here.
There it is.
All the way to Zanzibar.
All the way in Zanzibar. Hot Women are rocking. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being part of this conversation. And watch out for these other conversations with all these amazing women who are part of this project. Thank you, and see you again soon.
Bye-bye.